You know, you saw a post asking a question, can these bones live? I'm in Miami, where I was born and raised. And I don't know if you've ever been away from home for a very long time, and you come back and you can't recognize it. It's jaw-dropping. It's different. When I think about my life, when I left here, I had a youth program. I was working with youth in Liberty City, where I was born in an abandoned building on the floor. And I teach people live a life of no regrets. One of the things that I regret that I didn't come back and do the training with kids that I was engaged in Liberty City after my training was interrupted by Lieutenant Reno, who was encouraged to cast aspersions on my character because they thought I would get funding that their program would not get in Coconut Grove. One of the reasons that we don't have the kind of training that's sustainable and impactful for our children. Those in leadership, one, they don't know that they don't know. Two, they fight and argue over who's going to get the money. And three, they also argue about who will get the credit. So I developed a strategy, my training program, that I would train people, volunteer. And the people in the community would be the people driving it. It would not be around a personality. Some things happen to you and you realize they happen for you. And as a result of that interruption, I turned down the offer of renewing my program. And I said, I'm going to go on the road. I'm going to travel around the world. And using the things that I was teaching these young people, apply those in my own life and demonstrate that they work. And after I earned my first million, which took me 3 years, I'll come back and do the program myself with no funds from the city. After I made my first million, I said, this is good. And I didn't look back. And I kept going because I went to various organizations, the NAACP, the Urban League, churches all over the country, and they're saying, well, we like your program, but you're not teaching young people about Jesus. I said, listen, you teach them about Jesus. I teach the message that Jesus taught. You sell the messenger. I sell his message. And if what you were doing was working so well, I wouldn't be here. But the truth of the matter, they weren't looking at how do we begin to create a self-development program that will give young people a positive image of themselves. They were vehemently opposed to that. They wanted me to teach young people Jesus will fix it. Jesus said, these things ye shall do, and greater things shall ye do. I'm 77 now. Can these bones live? A good friend drove me through Overtown and Liberty City. Nothing like when I came along. Can these bones live? question. Good question. Can these bones live? The powers that be ran an expressway through Overtown and Liberty City to disrupt the voting bloc and the businesses. We had our own theaters, own shops, own stores, everything. The expressway, they could have gone further east and down the railroad track and built that expressway, but they deliberately wanted to interrupt that voting bloc and that economic power. Like Wall Street didn't just take place in Oklahoma. No. Take place all over the country to this day. Here's what I know. At 77, the ones that control the wealth, which is 1%, they create barriers that help the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And the ones, people like myself, who break out in spite of, you gotta be hungry. That's what my new book entitled. You get it on Amazon. You got to be hungry. Racism ain't going nowhere. It's unfair world in which we live in. It's not fair that birds eat worms, and they do. What do you want to do with your life? We have an expiration date. Talking to the friend who's driving me, and she said one of the things that she looked at her life, she said her significant other before he passed was trying to prepare her, and she said she didn't want to hear. And one of the things she's going to speak about is pay attention. The reason that the 1%, after years, centuries of being empowered, and those numbers have not increased, because of ignorance and because of the 99% are divided by politics and religion. Ignorance, politics, and religion keeps us at each other's throats while they focus on the money, while they follow the money. The orange man, his children have made millions, and still are. The rich are getting richer now. The poor are getting poor because of how the system is structured. The culture that we live in now, a culture of violence. But cultures are created by people. A culture of violence and poverty created by people. And they can be changed by people. Can these bones live? Yes, absolutely. And the secret is to maintain commitment. Maintain commitment through all the frustrations, through all the disappointment and setbacks, to build a mental resolve, have a thirst for learning. You got to unlearn and relearn and relearn to increase your value and to create collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. Can these bones live? Well, you know, Quincy Jones is a prophet. He had a song years ago. He said, Everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Johnny, how are you? I love you. That's my spiritual son, Johnny Wimber. From the Hood to Doing Good. That's a good book. That's relevant today. 1 out of 4 African-American males have been incarcerated, have a criminal background, gone astray. From the hood to doing good. And he's a young man that's brilliant, that is living a life of contribution and living a life of impact. One of my spiritual sons. This thing called life. We woke up this morning. We're still here. And that's a blessing. My goal is to teach you how to make the rest of your life the best of your life. I know a thing or two. I've been on the planet 77 years. I know a thing or two. And I know that everybody can't hear me. Everybody can't hear me. Only the few. He said the road to life is straight and narrow, and few there be that find it, because few there be that's looking for it. Majority of people just want to survive, just want to be entertained, just want to go out and buy an artificial booty. It's a boobs, it's a fly swatters. And they are hooked up, they are satisfied. Oh, behave. Oh my God. You know what I've learned to do is just observe. Just watch. Watching people. It's fascinating. And you ask yourself, how can they live like that? Because that works for them. It might not work for you, but it works for them. And it's none of your business. It's none of my business. Mamie Brown, my adopted mother, said, "Oh Lord, help me keep my nose out of other people's business." Like this page and share it. I'm going to drop something on you right now. I want you to listen. Each day when you get up, I want you to declare, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto you." I want you to say to yourself, "Lord, this is going to be the best day of my life." And then I want you to get still and say, "Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth thee." And then say, "Here's what I'm going to do today that will make it the best day of my life today. And here's what I'm going to learn today that I did not know yesterday." You got to be intentional. You got to write it down, focus on it, get a 3x5 card, and write what it is you want out of this day. Put on the flip side, Matthew 7:7, "Ask and it shall be given, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be open." Life is for living. Make it your business. Get serious about this thing called life. I was thinking about just life in general and my life in particular, and his life. That in terms of our eyes, we're taught to judge according to appearances, as opposed to judge not according to appearances. It might appear that his life is short, but he made some impact to those of us who love him and still do. And I think that life, it serves us notice that there's a song that Celeste Johnson, a business partner, she sings, live each day. To live each day. Some people have a day, have a week, have 20 years, 40 years. My case, I'm in my 77th year on the planet. And what it has done for me, I get to, with the time that I have left, to honor him with the life that I have left, to live full and to live this life empty, to live the rest of my life 100% for God, to be of service. I know he would want me to continue to change lives. And that's what I've been reflecting on. Sometimes we unconsciously, we sideline ourselves, we put ourselves on the bench because of age. And Matthew's life, he made an impact on me because it stirred something up in me that God said to me, "You're still here. I didn't call you out of the game. I didn't put you on the bench. There's more in you. You still have something else to give, something else in you that you have not expressed. That's why you're still here, because of my grace and mercy. Not to be on the couch, not in front of the television set. There's some lives that you're supposed to touch. Some people you're supposed to inspire. Some people that you're supposed to train. I'm not playing with you. Gotta get back out there. And I always, when something happens, I ask, God, what am I supposed to do with this? And what I'm supposed to do is say thank you for the time that we spent with Matthew and opening my eyes to take it to another level. And what I want to say to you, I don't know you, but as the saying goes, live each day, and as if it were your last. Things are happening that we never anticipate in this day and age. It's like a repeat. When the forces of evil say, take our country back, they're talking about not taking it back politically, but turning back the hands of time. And people of conscience, of morals, people who have awareness, well, take a stand for generations that are being born today and generations yet unborn. Tanya Brown, who is Cedric Brown's wife, no relation, but she said, this is a time for us to be visible, to be vocal, and to be vigilant, to be involved. this thing called life. Or, remember that song by Devils? If it ain't one thing, it's another. And so the three things that I like to reflect on that dropped in my spirit, as Dwight Pleasure would say. One, do what matters. Do the things that matter. Avoid unnecessary drama. Life will bring you enough drama by itself. All you have to do is just keep living. All you have to do is just keep waking up. And you will get a knock on the door. And life will say, it's your time now. It's your time now. You can say, who, me? Yeah, why me? I don't know, but it's your time now. And somebody said that life is like an onion. You have to peel it one layer at a time. And sometimes you cry. And I know that to be true. I know that to be true. Just connected with my birth family. Some of them were glad, but some weren't to know me because I was a secret. My brother and I, we were a secret. And it's painful to be rejected. If you choose to embrace it as being painful, or say to yourself, it is what it is. Whatever. And keep it moving. Don't buy into it. So that's one thing. You have to keep it moving and do your best with what you have. Next thing is, as I reflect on this my 77th year on the planet, not only doing what matters, but live the life that my oldest son says something that I had not thought about. He said, Dad, we've been living a blessed life. And when I think about how I got here, through effort, through time, and through doing something that's me, I encourage you to do that. Put effort and time in something that's you. Work harder on yourself than on a job. Put the energy on you. Life has no duplicate, and it has no guarantees. Live it on your terms. I wanted to see the world before I left the world. I've been probably to over 50 to 75 countries. And I believe, like Helen Keller, she said, life is either a daring adventure or it's boring. I truly have not lived a boring life. I got my entrepreneurial mindset, my community activist mindset, my seeing myself as an ambassador of hope from my mother, Dorothy Bell Rucker, and Beulah Rucker. And I got having a good time from this dude named Doc Oliver Randolph. That was my father. So that's the only story I heard about him. Okay. I got the best of them and the worst of him. They say he was a clean-cut dude. I mean, he dressed meticulously, and he was a handsome dude, and he was a ladies' man. That's the only stories I heard about him. I haven't heard a now other story, as Baba would say. But my birth mother, Dorothy Bell, oh my God. She was a teacher, she was a singer, she taught Sunday school, Bible classes, she was a motivational speaker, she inspired and motivated people. She's a bad lady. She was something else, all right? And so I got the best of her and the worst of him. So I'm glad to still be here to serve God and to live a life that's my truth, the real me, not the one that I bought into based upon my environment and my circumstances and things I picked up in the streets. The real me, and living a life of contribution. Made a lot of mistakes. Had a lot of failures, a lot of disappointments. But I'm like the lady who said, Lord, I ain't what I want to be, ain't what I'm going to be. And thank God, I sure ain't what I was. And I'm scooting my way to success. My son, John Leslie, he's come up with this new concept. Scoot your way to success. And so, the other thing is, not only must you do what matters, avoid creating unnecessary drama, do what's you, do you, find something that resonates with your heart and master it, master it. But the other thing that's important too, and please listen to me closely, be on a talent hunt. A talent hunt, looking for people who have skills, who have talents, who have abilities that you don't have, who are strong where you are weak. That's important. This is no time to try and do this thing called life by yourself. No time. You want to organize a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. Become involved with a community of people that's going in your direction. That's why we started Hungry to Speak. And I've got a new group I've started, and if you're interested in, it's called Les at let me write it. I just started this, and I came up with this concept because I want to work with a small group of people, and then I can coach up close and personal, like my mother did. I've been talking to people, did some interviews with people from Gainesville, Georgia, who she coached and mentored. And one of them, she's an evangelist and happened to be a grand cousin on my father's side. And so I'm going to do that. I said, you know what? I want to do that. She was among a small group of kids that she worked with. And she's been telling me stories about my mother that I found fascinating. And she said, there's no way anybody who saw you and been around you can deny that you are Dorothy Bell's son. if you're interested in being coached by me, just reach out to me, les@coachmelesbrown.com. coachmelesbrown.com. I talked to a grandniece day before yesterday, and I said, do you think that my birth mother, Dorothy Bell, did she ever see me on public television or when I had my talk show? She said, She said, I remember when I was 12 years old, and when they introduced you on television, my Aunt Carrie, which was my mother's sister, asked, Dorothy, how do you feel when you see your boy on television? How do you feel when you're looking at your son? We've seen him several times now. And I asked, what did she say? And she said she just held her hand up just for Carrie to be quiet until the end of your presentation. And she said, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. I said, wow. What are the chances that you were there on that day, and you and I having this conversation? Look at God. So I know she saw me. I know she was aware of who I became. I don't believe it, I know it, because now I have people that can verify that. When you're adopted, it's like a missing piece to the puzzle, you know? Dorothy Bell, she gave me life, but Mamie Brown taught me how to live life. But there are things that's in me. When I look in the mirror, because of the pictures that I've seen of my birth mother, I can't see anything but her face. And, oh my God, there she is. And I've always wanted it to. I said, God, let me see a picture. Let me hear a voice. Now, I have a recording of her doing a poem, and I have a picture of her, and I look at that picture, and I look at me. I said it'd be criminal for her to say, that's not mine. And I look like she made me all by herself. So I got my song, y'all heard it. I got two mothers and I'm not ashamed. I've got two mothers and I love them just the same. This thing called life. So I was just reflecting. Find something that's you and give it all you have. Live life on your terms. Make yourself stand out. And do what matters. Don't get caught up in the trivial things of life, the busyness of life. Sometimes we can get so busy we think we're being productive, and all we're doing is wasting time. Time is a currency. And do some deep thinking and reflection of who you should be in and out of the pandemic. What does the next greatest version of yourself look like? That's what I'm reflecting on. That's what I'm thinking about. Pouring all that life into the life that my great-grandson Matthew did not get to live. I'm sure he's sitting on the other side with Malik Go get him, Papa. That's what my grands call me, Papa. I don't know you, but I know this to be true. You're here for a purpose. You were chosen at this point in time to do the greater work, to create a better world for our children and for our children's children, to plant seeds for trees that we will not sit under and gather shade. Because we're here because somebody made a sacrifice. People went to jail, they lost their lives, stripped of everything. So you're not here by any accident, and if you're still breathing, not taking a dirt nap, if you can hear me, God has something else for you to do. I don't know how, don't worry. Just make yourself available and say, here I am, Lord. Just say yes, as Shekinah Gloria would say. And just pour yourself into the mindset of, Lord, rescue me from myself. Deliver me from myself so that I can live for you. Liberate me. Point me in the direction of my exodus, as Donald Lawrence would say.
In Michael's book, he has a book called Average Sucks. And he's a great speaker, and he's a trainer, and he's a coach, and he's really good at many things. And in the book, he talks about food, and I was using this as a metaphor towards real, sincereness versus faking it, right? Yeah. And so the way he talks about food is there's food that is addiction, which would be donuts and sugar and fat and just like unhealthy food. The second would be entertainment, which is what most restaurants would be. And then there's nutrition. And I look at people that way too. There's speakers and there's coaches and there's marketers that are, they're not good. I mean,
talkers.
It tastes good, but it's, it's kind of like a shit cake.
May I ask you a question, please?
Yes.
Do you mind?
Go ahead.
Your book is entitled, what's your first name?
Average Sucks, Michael Burnoff.
Michael?
Yeah.
You said average sucks.
Yep, not sex, sucks, yeah. Sometimes people...
I will be praying for you, Michael. Michael, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you go back and look at your life, you 4 or 5, who's somebody that you admired that really impacted how you see yourself?
How I see myself?
Yes, somebody that you saw, that you admired, that you say, wow, they made you feel safe, made you feel good. And because of their character, because of how they treated you, because of their example, they influence you in becoming the person that you are now. Who's that person?
I've had a ton of them, I would say.
I'm talking about when you're around 5 or 6. You
5 or 6 years old?
Yeah, who was the closest person, your reference group?
Literally I was at a family event, and there was a cousin. It was a one-time meeting. It was a cousin. He came in for a funeral and literally just said something to me. He said, you don't have to always listen to everything your parents say. You can be anything that you want to be. And I remember hearing this at a weird age. He's about 8 years older than me. And he said this to me, and I remember those words to this day. I had a couple interactions with this gentleman.
Okay, hold just a minute.
Yep.
Pump your brakes. Now I want you to listen to different. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, you can be anything you want to be. Do that right now, please.
That's good. You can be anything you want to be. That's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I went to a funeral, and they said coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. And I ran into a cousin of mine. And he said that to me. He said, you can be anything that you want to be. I was going through an experience at this time, trying to find my footing in life. How many of you had some moments in your life trying to make sense of and say, what is this all about? You remember those moments when you question yourself? And he affirmed me. And so I want to share with you some things I learned from my cousin. Now,
That's good.
that goes different than average sucks, because you're assuming that I'm average or he's average. We're not. So you blocking a lot of people. But when you say you can be anything you want to be, Maslow said the number one thing that people want is self-actualization. So now you're affirming people, and things I learned from my cousin, you now are in that category. People go online to find out information. How did you get to where you are? And what did you learn from your cousin? You want to create the want to, that they want to know, what did you learn from your cousin? Because you got some secrets that you learned that allowed you to become the person that you are now, to die to who you were, to give birth to who you are now. And you've decided that you can be anything you want to do. His words when he spoke to you, that went to your heart and you carried it all these years. He didn't say to you, average sucks. And so the reason I ask you that question, I work with people to get what's in your heart. Average sucks. That's a head thing. You can be anything you want to be. People need to know that in the face of the pandemic, in the face of artificial intelligence, in the face of the statistics that over 350 million people that will be unemployed because of artificial intelligence, you'll say you can be anything you want to be. I'm not saying that there will be 350 million people who will lose their jobs. My cousin taught me that 350 million people didn't lose their jobs. 300 million people have been freed up so they can become entrepreneurs to control their own destiny. It was said by one philosopher that things may happen to you and things may happen around you, but the things that really count are the things that happen in you. You can do anything you want to do. You can create your own economy. This is a new place of accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. You've got greatness in you. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. My cousin was right, and because of those words, he spoke to me. I redefined myself. Because of what he said to me, my life was never the same again. Because of what my cousin said to me, I decided to become an ambassador in life and encourage people to pursue their dreams rather than live their fears.
Solid. Okay. I like it. And then I think marketing and all the market research, that's a whole other conversation.
But you see what I did with that?
Yeah, I like that.
How many of you?
Yeah.
Now, do you see the difference? Yeah. Raise your hand if you see the difference in what I'm talking about. Yes.
You know,
I got a funny story for you after this.
Well, here's the thing. Just to bring it up, Andre, don't go away. So the power of relationships. So how many years ago now was it, Andre, that Michael Burnoff and Cameron Harold and then John Rulin said, to you, you need to meet this dude. I happen to be in. So, do you know Andre Norman by chance?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a black thing.
What's it? Yeah, it's a black guy. Trying to bring all the black people together.
But it's something different.
So, I mean, it seems to me, so we're recording this conversation. It seems to me that all these incarcerated individuals that you're in charge of this program to putting, content on 650,000 tablets that are in prisons for people that are incarcerated would be very valuable for them to hear a conversation like this.
1,000%.
Yeah. And because, when you're in a position like that, the thing that incarceration does for most people is they usually don't come out better. They usually come out worse. And they now have they now have an identity of a convict. They have an identity that I fucked up, I'm a loser, whatever. The interesting thing on the stats are there's 2.2 million people incarcerated in the United States. We're the highest incarcerating country in the world. 25% of the world's prisoners are in the United States, and 80 to 90% of everyone arrested or thrown in jail, drugs and alcohol were involved. And 40% of people that are incarcerated committed some sort of violent crime, which is a different discussion. 60% have not. So there's a lot of addicted people that are incarcerated. and putting people into a punitive system, you can't punish pain out of people, is really damaging. And it's not just the incarcerated people, the 2.2 million people. For every person incarcerated, there's a whole family unit and relationships that are attached to that person. So there's there's an opportunity to change that person so that they can get out and become an Andre Norman, because many people do not. And I would have never met Andre if it wasn't for Michael or Cameron or John. So it's a relationship thing. And when I heard his story, I was like, I want to be helpful to this individual. And it was supposed to be for like 5 months. It's now been 5 years.
It's crazy.
And he's saved lives, and we've done a lot of stuff. And here we are with people with skills and talents and abilities, everyone here. And through a mechanism here, he's now in a position where I think by the end of this year, there'll be like 1 million tablets that delivers education and content to people. And that's one of the things he's in charge of. And he's an incredible speaker. If he would have not at some point figured out, I want to go and address people, I want to teach them, you don't have to go down the path I did. It is all through speaking. Just like Joel Weldon. I mean, speaking is the vehicle. It is the mechanism to getting messages and inspiration out to people. And you can make a lot of money doing it. But that conversation you have with my friend Rick is worth a lot. That guy is a multimillionaire. He is rich as hell. It wasn't about money. It was about what it did for his mindset, And so the ability to speak and influence and persuade goes way beyond a business. I mean, it's what you can either, Hitler was a powerful orator. It's what you do with it that makes a difference.
Hitler is doing something we're witnessing now. People who have great presentation skills are able to create an experience. It's one thing to speak and people hear you. It's something else when you speak, people feel you. That's a different dynamic. Yeah. So he was a master communicator. The people that make that transformation, it's like Norman. It was not just the speaking. Norman died. If a man to gain his life, he must lose his life. Norman, who went to prison, he was liberated when he got out, even before they released him, because he got a new identity. Yeah. Once your life has a new identity, people that we work with, the people that are part of our team, the people that we are align ourselves with for some social good, once you have a different mindset, that gives your life a sense of purpose. And once your life has a sense of purpose, then that gives your life a sense of direction. So now, Norman is an asset to society rather than a liability. Robert Kennedy said, if we cannot save the many that are poor, we truly cannot save the few that are rich. So when we look at the smash and grabs and all the killings that are taking place, we're watching the throes of a dying beast. Something has happened. And the only way that we can take this on, cultures of violence, cultures of other, when you can put traps together and immigrants, it's one thing to talk about preventing people from coming here, but creating traps in water so they would drown and their children. That's not who we are as a country. Right. We are the greatest country on the planet. And so that the cultures are created by words. And the reason that I'm committed to training people how to communicate and to create peace, I said, I'll give you perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Harmony. When we have harmony with ourselves and our spirituality, our family, our relationships, and the purpose of our lives, and joy, stuff's going to be happening. Life would be happening, but when you have a sense of spiritual strength, you are able to handle it. Jesus, he walked on water, but he went out there in a boat. And so you have to have something that when life be lifing, that you can hold on to, that allows you to say, I'm gonna be all right. And this is what you're doing now, and the relationships that people are building here One goose can fly 75% further in formation with other geese than it can ever fly by itself. And so the relationships and the sharing that people have and building relationships, building a new reference group. They did this 85-year study at Harvard University, and they said the people who were successful had a reference group of about 5 to 7 people that they connected with, that they identified with, that they had goals and dreams and held each other accountable. The same things that you're talking about right now. This is extraordinary. This is what the Genius Network is something that needs to be replicated all across this country and around the world, because politicians won't do it and religious leaders won't do it. They keep us divided by politics and religion and keep us at each other's throats. What you're doing is that you have one agenda, and that agenda is, greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. You have the power to create peace. We have the power to turn to each other rather than turn on each other. We have the power to leave a legacy, and for generations yet unborn. That's what the Genius Network is all about.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Gracias.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, what if the only thing standing between you and everything you've ever wanted was belief? Not talent, not timing, not even luck, just belief. The kind that ignores limits, defies fear, and dares to act as if anything is possible. Most people never find out what they're capable of, not because they lack potential, but because they've been trained to doubt it. But when you learn to believe, truly believe, as if the impossible is already within reach, something powerful happens. Your mindset shifts, your energy changes, doors begin to open, not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you start showing up differently. This isn't about pretending or hoping. It's about choosing to live as though success is already chasing you, not the other way around. And when you make that shift, you don't just imagine change, you become the change. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they've convinced themselves it can't be done. And once that belief settles in, they never truly try. But what if that belief is the only thing in your way? Consider what happens when you begin to act as if your goals are possible, even when fear lingers. Because once your mindset changes, everything else follows. One powerful idea is this: if the future already belongs to you, belief becomes your greatest asset. More powerful than talent or education, belief unlocks your true potential, which otherwise remains dormant, like a lion held in chains. Belief is not about wishing or hoping. It's the deep internal certainty that what you want is already within reach. When your belief becomes unshakable, when your thoughts and emotions align with your vision, you activate a force within that drives creation itself. Belief doesn't just shape your behavior, it reshapes your identity. It raises your sense of self until even the impossible gives way to your determination. Recognize this: most people drift through life with vague intentions. They wish for things to improve, they wait for change, hoping for a breakthrough, but they don't truly believe. There's a passage in Romans 4:17 that says, faith calls things which are not as though they were. That's more than poetry. It's a law of the mind. The person who behaves as if success is already theirs will always outperform the one who waits for proof. Belief comes first, evidence follows. Belief is what calls the evidence into existence. Take control of your thoughts. Train your mind. Discipline it. You must guard it fiercely, refusing to allow doubt, fear, or hesitation to take root. These are illusions, smoke and shadows that vanish the moment belief takes center stage. The world will tempt you to pause, to second guess, to settle, but you must stand firm. You must declare, I will not bargain with my purpose. Reality is not just what others observe, it's what you choose to make real. One example, someone born into scarcity believed from a young age that he was meant to build something great. He didn't wait for permission or recognition. He carried that vision in the way he spoke, walked, and worked. Even when his resources were minimal, he wasn't pretending. He was living a truth that already existed inside him. Eventually, the world caught up to that truth. So must you. Your belief is the seed. Your daily efforts are the water. Your persistence is the sunlight. Together, they produce results that may look miraculous to others, but you'll know they were always part of the plan. This isn't fiction. It's a principle. It's the same law that has lifted countless people from nothing to greatness. Nourish your belief. Feed it. Speak life into it. Visualize it. Act on it. Guard it from doubt, from delay, from negativity. Speak it into existence. Daily life vision question. When you feed it into your mind to give it form, this isn't no doubt that has lifted countless, because once your belief becomes unbreakable, no obstacle can withstand it, no challenge, no failure. Belief makes you unstoppable. And one day, when the world stands in awe of your success, you won't be surprised. You'll simply recognize it because you believed it long before they did. Train your mind to expect victory. Greatness cannot be achieved by those who anticipate defeat. That's not just a powerful thought, it's a spiritual principle. No one rises higher than the thoughts that dominate their mind. If you secretly expect to fail, you will. If you've already accepted defeat within, no amount of strategy can save you. A mind conditioned by fear and doubt, one that sees obstacles instead of openings, will quietly sabotage every opportunity. And this sabotage isn't loud or obvious. It hides in hesitation, in delay, in convenient excuses. You may label it caution or realism, but often it's fear in disguise. The encouraging truth? Just as the mind was trained to doubt, it can be retrained to expect success. The mind isn't fixed, it's fertile. It produces what you plant. Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. This isn't poetic, it's foundational. Your mind is the engine room of your destiny. Whatever you feed it becomes your reality. Feed it fear, and you reap failure. Feed it faith, and watch possibilities unfold like the morning light after a long night. That's why each day must begin with mental ownership before the world gets its say. Declare your vision. Shape your inner world before external noise attempts to shape you. See yourself already victorious, walking through doors you once assumed were locked. Think from abundance, not lack. Speak about potential, not limitations. Expect good outcomes. Prepare for forward momentum. Do not allow a single negative image to dominate your imagination, because what holds your focus directs your future. Challenges will come. This is a given, but your perception must evolve. Challenges are not barriers, they're bridges. They don't seek retreat, they serve as tests for the next elevation. Recall the story of a man who, during the Great Depression, rose from hardship to become a boxing world champion. Long before he won with his hands, he won with his mindset. He trained himself to believe in a comeback. He saw himself rising, even when the world expected him to stay down. That belief shaped the way he fought, endured, and showed up. He entered the ring already victorious in his spirit. Once you believe change is possible, life begins to reflect that belief. Circumstances adjust, people come into your life, doors open, not because they suddenly appeared, but because you've trained yourself to see them. Life begins to align when belief outweighs fear. That's not coincidence, it's consequence. You must become the architect of your internal world. Build a vision so vivid, so unshakable, that no temporary loss can damage it. Guard your thoughts with discipline. Watch over them like a gatekeeper. Don't let mediocrity or comparison settle in. Every day is a contest for belief, and every time you expect more, you elevate. Train your mind to expect growth, and growth will meet you. This is the practice of achievers. Victors, those who made history. They managed their inner climate, even when everything around them screamed failure. They imagined brightness under gray skies, they carried confidence in empty pockets, and because they believed differently, they lived differently. They lived differently. So ask yourself, what do you expect? When you close your eyes, what do you see? Do you see a future worth striving for? Then think in alignment with it. Speak in alignment, move in alignment. Refuse to give power to any version of reality that conflicts with your vision. Your life will always follow the course of your dominant thoughts. Victory doesn't visit the doubtful. It belongs to those who expect it, plan for it, and don't stop until it's real. If the current is already moving, believe and watch it carry you to places you once only imagined. Now act as if your goals are non-negotiable. Most people treat their goals like hopes, fragile ideas that fade under pressure, delay, or distraction. They say, I want, but rarely mean I will. They wait for the right time, a signal, or someone's approval. But you must live differently. If you're going to rise, if you want a life of significance and legacy, your goals must become firm, fixed, and final. They must become law in your world, not wishes, but declarations, unbreakable commands you issue to yourself and the universe. And such a command must not return empty. You're not here to request permission from life. You're here to state your outcome and then pursue it with relentless conviction. Success is not handed to those who merely hope. It is secured by those who choose. Your mind must be made up so firmly, so completely, that even storms or setbacks can't shake you. Your commitment must burn like a fire, undeniable, unshakable, unstoppable. That's the force of creation. When Moses faced the sea, he wasn't told to wait, he was told to move forward. And only after he stepped did the waters part. It's the same with your life. The path doesn't appear before you move. It appears because you move. Most wait to see the whole staircase, but true power belongs to those who begin climbing with faith in every step. Don't delay. Act. Even when the road ahead looks like an ocean. One historical figure was born into hardship, the daughter of a washerwoman. Society had written her story, but she refused to read it. She rewrote her own. She didn't treat her dreams as possibilities. She treated them as certainties. She treated her dream as destiny. She moved with urgency, formed powerful alliances, and never stopped learning. There was no time for excuses, no room for doubt, and no space for the opinions of smaller minds. Her belief became her armor. Her goal became law. And now, you must do the same. Walk not as someone waiting for change, but as someone already stepping into the future they've decided on. Let your posture shift. Let your voice carry more weight. Let your eyes reveal a mind made up. When you speak, let it sound like certainty. When you act, let your steps echo with purpose. This is the path of those who build legacies. Many dreamers fall short not because they dream too big, but because they believe too little. They treat goals like options, not obligation. But when a goal becomes law, you remove the back doors. There are no pauses, only progress, only fire, only finish. Write your vision deep within you. Etch it into your routines. Guard it with your time. Fuel it with consistent action. And you'll see doors open that logic can't explain. People will show up. Opportunities will unfold. Not because of luck, but because belief in motion attracts results. Make your goal your identity. Once it becomes part of who you are, no force can stop what's been set in motion. No matter how gifted or driven, no one can thrive in an environment filled with doubt. You could hold a vision powerful enough to move mountains, but if you plant it in toxic soil, it will wither before it ever blooms. Your environment is never neutral. It either lifts or limits you. It either nurtures belief or drains it. That's why you must guard your atmosphere as fiercely as a king guards his crown. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. Every word you hear, every opinion you consider, and every person you allow near affects your mental landscape, for better or worse. In Corinthians 15:33, we are warned, bad company corrupts good character. That's not just moral advice, it's strategic. The wrong people weaken your belief, but the right ones amplify it. The conversations you have today shape your actions tomorrow. Belief is not isolated, it is influenced by the company you keep. Choose your circle with intention. Surround yourself with visionaries, those who speak life into your goals, not those who hold you to your past. Be with people who fan your fire, not extinguish it. If those around you don't challenge your limits or draw out your strength, they're not allies, they're liabilities. One historical figure, born into slavery and hardship, rose to become a national voice in education and progress. He didn't get there on belief alone. He surrounded himself with mentors and leaders who reflected the future he saw. His rise wasn't an accident, it was a product of his environment. His circle demanded growth and reinforced his vision. You must be just as intentional. Audit your surroundings. If someone consistently brings fear, limitation, or negativity into your space, they're contaminating your potential. Remove them. With love, but with firmness, then replace them with people who speak the language of possibility. Find those who dream bigger, act bolder, and carry faith in what's yet to be seen. Iron sharpens iron. Your belief will never reach its full power in isolation. You need voices that echo your goals. You need companions who say, let's go further when you feel like quitting. Because belief isn't just an internal fire, it grows stronger when others add fuel to it. Plant yourself in empowering spaces. Surround yourself with courage. Enter rooms where your dreams feel small, not because they are, but because those around you dream even larger. Your tribe multiplies your momentum. Their energy strengthens your resolve. Their expectations become your standard. And once you're rooted in the right environment, belief becomes natural. It doesn't have to be forced. It becomes your default. From there, no mountain is too steep, no goal too bold, because now belief doesn't just live in you, it lives around you. And collective belief moves faster than anything standing in its way. Your story isn't defined by what happened. It's defined by how you tell what happened. Every event, every setback, every closed door isn't who you are, it's the raw material that shapes who you become. Like any material, its value lies in how you use it. Most people carry their pain like a sentence. They replay it until it becomes their identity. But the great ones, the creators, the visionaries, they turn pain into power. They stop asking, why me, and begin asking, what now? Here's the truth. Your past is not a judgment, it's a classroom. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every delay wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to prepare you. In Genesis 50:20, Joseph tells his brothers, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. That's not denial, that's dominion. That's the power to reframe your story and draw strength from it. Pain is not your enemy, it's the sculptor of your purpose. Stop rehearsing your pain. Start uncovering the purpose buried within it. If all you focus on is what you lost, you'll never see what you gained. Strength, perspective, resilience. These are the hidden treasures forged in struggle. Your story gains true strength when you stop telling it with sorrow and start telling it with wisdom. You weren't buried, you were planted. One iconic entrepreneur proved this principle. Before building one of the most recognized global brands, he spent years selling milkshake machines. Many would call that wasted time. He didn't. Every failed deal, every setback became preparation. He didn't curse his past, he used it. And when the right opportunity came, he was ready. Your setbacks don't disqualify you, they shape you, if you choose to learn from them. The past is not a weight, it's a design. Reread it with fresh eyes. Reclaim what it taught you. If you see every trial as punishment, you'll stay small. But if you see it as preparation, you'll walk forward with power. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are powerful people with purpose. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are the architect of what's next. Let your past be a weapon, not a wound. Let your scars remind you not of defeat, but of survival. Use your history as a platform, not a prison. The greatest leaders didn't rise because they avoided hardship. They rose because they learned how to transform it. They rose because they redeemed their pain. They gave new meaning to old experiences. They rewrote the narrative over past memories. And now, it's your turn to do the same. Start by blessing your past. Speak life over it. Say, that shaped me, that trained me, that was necessary. Because when you choose to honor your past, your future opens with grace. The doors swing wide. The energy around you shifts, and you move forward not in regret, but with revelation. Your story is a sword. Wield it. Let your testimony stand as proof that pain was never the end. It was the beginning of your strength. Let every challenge become a tool to sculpt your belief. Because your belief is like a muscle. It does not grow in ease, but under pressure. Without tension, your faith remains untested and weak. It might sound impressive when spoken, but it holds no weight in real struggle. Like muscles that tear and rebuild stronger, belief must be pushed before it becomes durable. This is not punishment. This is preparation. James 1:2 reminds us, count it all joy when you face trials, knowing that testing produces endurance. Trials are not obstacles to destiny. They are the path to it. We must stop avoiding difficulty. Challenge is the training ground of the soul. Every hardship, every setback, every moment of delay is a weight. Lift it, and you grow. Let challenge carve away doubt. Let it shape your focus, strip your excuses, define your core, and reveal your strength. The pressure you resist is often the very pressure meant to prepare you for greatness. When the world pushes back, push forward harder. When your plans collapse, rebuild with more clarity. The strength of belief isn't measured when everything is easy. It's proven when everything shakes. Faith that only works in calm waters isn't real faith. It's fantasy. But belief that stands through storms becomes unbreakable. Consider one historical figure who was born into slavery, orphaned, and denied opportunities at every turn. He had every reason to give up, but he didn't. He stayed focused. He studied the peanut, a small overlooked crop, and extracted over 300 practical products from it: paints, oils, medicines, and more. Where others saw limitation, he saw possibility. He turned adversity into advantage. And that's how you must see your own setbacks, not as signs of defeat, but as seeds of progress. When pressure shows up, let it press you into purpose. When time delays your dream, let it refine your patience. When resistance rises, sharpen your strategy. Each trial becomes a coach. Each hardship becomes a hammer. You become like steel, forged in fire. Your belief doesn't become unstoppable by avoiding hardship. It becomes unstoppable by enduring through it and rising stronger. The people who reach greatness are not those who walk the easiest path, but those who transformed resistance into power. They didn't just make it, they changed. So when life hits hard, don't step back. Let the obstacle become your workout. Let resistance be your new routine. You're not wasting time when things get hard. You're developing the very character your future requires. No structure stands tall without a strong foundation, and foundations are laid with force. Let every trial remind you of who you are becoming. Let every setback prove that belief is not soft, it is active, gritty, and persistent. You were not made to be crushed by life. You were made to conquer it. But only if you embrace the pressure that shapes you. Every delay is a setup for your return. Every opposition is a chance to evolve. When it's all said and done, the world should witness a version of you that only the fire could create. Because belief, when tested, becomes truth, and truth, once lived, becomes power. Speak with the voice of belief. Your words are not just sounds in the air. They are seeds that shape your future. Every sentence you speak either waters your belief or weakens it. Every word builds the house you will eventually live in. This isn't exaggeration, it's law. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Your words don't just describe your life, they define it. Yet most people speak carelessly. They complain, they doubt, they speak failure aloud and wonder why their life reflects fear instead of faith. But your speech reveals your belief. What you say often is what you believe deeply, and what you believe forms the framework of your future. Ask yourself, when you talk about your future, what tone do you use? Boldness or fear? When you speak about yourself, do you declare strength or surrender? You cannot build greatness with the language of limitation. Your words must rise to the level of your vision. Speak forward. Speak upward. One historical leader, long dismissed and underestimated, refused to let others define her. While some called her unqualified, she chose a different vocabulary. She spoke capability. She spoke purpose. She acted with confidence before anyone else believed in her. She used her words as foundation, as protection, as prophecy, and eventually the world followed her lead. You must do the same. Speak life over your future. Say, I am chosen. I am prepared. I am rising. Let those words become your rhythm. Let them echo until your actions reflect your declarations. Words never return void. They create the world they speak of. So speak with clarity, speak with confidence. Don't talk based on what you see, talk based on what you've decided it will become. Speak what you want until you see what you've spoken. This isn't delusion, it's discipline. It's the sacred practice of calling things forth in faith. Just as Romans 4:17 says, God calls things that are not as though they were. This is how belief is strengthened. Not just through thoughts, but through speech. When you say, I am capable, you're not lying, you're conditioning. When you say, I am qualified, you're not faking, you're aligning. Words shape identity, identity shapes outcomes. Reject limiting language. Remove phrases like, I can't or I never. Replace them with, I am learning, I am becoming, I am built for this. Speak as though heaven is listening. Speak like your words matter, because they do. You are not waiting for permission from the world. Your voice is your authority. Your tongue is your pen. Your words are your prophecy. What you declare consistently becomes what you live eventually. Let today be a turning point. From careless speech to commanding presence. From reaction to intention. From self-doubt to self-direction. Because when your words rise, your world cannot stay the same. Speak with power. Speak with direction. Keep speaking until what you say becomes what you see. Set your vision in stone, but let your path be fluid like water. There is a difference between the destination and the direction. The vision must remain fixed, bold, clear, and unwavering. But the path to reach it must stay flexible. Too many confuse the two. When one plan falls apart, many abandon the dream altogether. When a single door closes, they assume the vision was flawed, but destiny doesn't unfold in a straight line. It twists, bends, and demands resilience. Your ability to adjust is what determines how far you'll go. The path may shift, but the promise remains. The Israelites were given a clear destination, the promised land. That part never changed. But their journey was filled with deserts, delays, unexpected battles, and turns they never anticipated. They wandered, they adapted, they grew, and through it all, the destination remained unchanged. That's the lesson. Your method may need to change 100 times, but your goal should remain fixed. If one road is blocked, find another. If a door slams shut, knock elsewhere. If the map tears, draw a mutant. But never stop aiming for the treasure. One figure in history exemplified this perfectly. He began life in a factory, earning just a few dollars a week, but he didn't let that define him. He climbed through learning, strategic alliances, and sheer adaptability. When one path failed, he didn't stop, he shifted. He didn't treat closed doors as ends. He saw them as redirections. His goal was excellence. His method was fluid. That's the mindset you must adopt. Learn to bend without breaking. A tree that won't bend in the storm will snap, but the one that moves with the wind stays standing. That's how you remain rooted through change. Vision requires strength, but your strategy needs flexibility. The world keeps evolving. What once worked may no longer serve you. A skill that once gave you the edge might now be outdated. Wisdom is knowing when to let go of a broken plan. Don't mistake a detour for a defeat. Just because you've taken the long road doesn't mean you've lost your way. Sometimes the long road is the exact route you needed. It's not about how direct your path is. It's about how determined your spirit stays. Keep your eyes locked on the peak, even if the trail disappears beneath your feet. When you can't see ahead, vision becomes your compass. Build with conviction, but walk with humility. Be ready to change methods, not missions. Change your tactics, not your target. Stay rooted in your why, even as the how keeps evolving. This is how champions operate. Clear in purpose, flexible in process. Flexibility isn't weakness, it's intelligence in motion. It's strength that knows how to adjust. The greatest mistake you can make is clinging to a failed strategy just to save face. Don't let pride chain you to a path that no longer works. Be willing to reassess, shift, rebuild, not because your dream is over, but because you're smart enough to evolve with your journey. Remember this always. Your strategy serves your vision, it doesn't own it. Let your dream be your mountain, solid and unmovable. Let your plan be your river, flowing and adaptable. However winding the road becomes, never lose sight of where you're going. Hold your vision steady. Let your approach remain flexible. That's how you'll arrive, stronger, wiser, and right where you were always meant to be. Own your power to choose completely. Everything begins not with your circumstances, but with your decisions. Too many wait for perfect timing, for the right mood, for ideal conditions. But life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards those who move with clarity and boldness. In Deuteronomy 30:19, it says clearly, "I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life." This isn't advice. It's a declaration of your authority, because choice is the steering wheel of destiny. Where your life goes next is not up to fate. It is directed by the decision you make now. Most people don't fail due to lack of talent. They fail because they never fully committed. They hesitate, they second guess, they leave themselves too many exits. But indecision, though it seems safe, is the slowest path to self-destruction. Every time you delay a decision, you bury potential. Every postponed dream is a seed that never breaks the surface. Your future isn't waiting for conditions to align, it's waiting for you to decide. Every excuse you accept becomes another brick in the wall standing between you and your future. But everything shifts the moment you truly decide. That single decision becomes your point of power. It's the moment when momentum sparks, when energy builds, and when the world around you begins to respond, not to chance, but to your clarity and conviction. It's not about having all the resources, it's about having resolve. The world makes way for the person who moves with purpose. One historical figure demonstrated this with unmatched courage. Though born into unthinkable oppression, she didn't wait for conditions to change, she moved with conviction. She risked her life again and again for the sake of others. Her decision didn't just change her story, it planted seeds of freedom for generations to come. That same power to choose lies in you now. Choose the standard you will live by. Choose the line you will no longer cross. The level of excellence you will hold yourself to. Choose the direction of your life, where you're headed, and what's worth devoting yourself to. Eliminate the excuses. Cast aside the voice that says not yet. Let this be the moment you stop hesitating and start becoming. Once you decide, the world rearranges. Resources that were hidden appear. Doors that were closed start to open, not because everything outside changed, but because you did. Your decision shifts your energy. You stop entertaining doubt. You begin acting with certainty, and that certainty carries influence. Don't overlook this. Indecision is the enemy of destiny. It robs you of momentum, weakens your confidence, and keeps you circling when you were meant to advance. But decision brings clarity, and clarity accelerates progress. The moment you choose with finality, your habits, relationships, and surroundings begin to realign. Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait for the right feeling. Decide now. Decide who you are. Decide what you're here to do. Decide what future you're building. And then let your words, your steps, and your presence confirm it. Lives of greatness don't emerge from chance. They are forged in decision. The turning point is always the moment someone says, "I choose now." That moment holds more power than decades of indecision. Once you make that choice, your life will begin to follow your lead. So choose decisively, choose with courage, choose with fire, choose life, and do not look back. You were never meant to crawl. You were born to rise. Inside you is more than biology or breath. There is a sacred purpose, a divine assignment woven into every season of your life, waiting for you to say yes. As one ancient promise declares, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. These are not idle words. They are declarations from eternity about your significance. You are not here by accident. Your life is not random. You are a vessel of purpose, crafted with precision and launched into the world for a reason. Life may have tried to limit you. People may have overlooked you, but destiny knows your name. Your moment is not on the horizon, it's here. Walk like someone carrying purpose. Let your presence announce that you were born for more. Speak as if your words carry the weight of your calling, because they do. Don't let fear or rejection water down your message. Move like someone whose moment has arrived, because it has. Consider one remarkable life that defied all odds. She had no sight, no hearing, but she had vision, and she refused to be silenced. She didn't wait for opportunity, she created it. She believed she mattered, and because she did, the world began to believe it too. You must carry that same belief. Your voice is not insignificant. Your voice is not irrelevant. You don't need permission to rise. The dream inside you is sacred. Guard it. Grow it. Let it breathe. All the detours, all the delays, they were part of the preparation. Nothing has been wasted. You must hold on to that truth. Your time is not someday, it is now. The moment you step forward with conviction, something shifts. Seen and unseen forces begin to align. The world takes notice. You send a clear signal that you remember who you are, that you were never meant to live in fear or stay in the shadows. You were born to rise, and rise you will. So ask yourself, what would change if you believed fully and without hesitation that anything was possible? But what if doubt was no longer your default setting and belief became your new foundation? Because the truth is, your life will never rise higher than the thought you allow, the vision you carry, and the belief you protect. When you learn to believe as if no limitation could stop you, the world begins to respond, not all at once, but in quiet shifts, new doors, unexpected turns. Possibility starts with perspective. And when that perspective is rooted in conviction, not fear, transformation becomes inevitable. This isn't just motivation, it's a call to action. Believe like it's already yours. Think like the breakthrough is already happening. Act like the future you've imagined is unfolding in real time. Because when you learn to believe as if anything is possible, you think it's over. You think the game is done because it's hard, because you're tired. Welcome to life. Let me tell you the truth. No one else will. Nobody cares. Nobody is coming to save you. If you want to win, you've got to be a winner. Winners don't whine. They don't cry about how unfair life is. They wake up, they sharpen the sword, and they go back to war. I've been broke. I've been hated. I've been banned, silenced, attacked, but I'm still standing. You know why? Because I don't stop until I win. Life is combat. Every day is war. You're either conquering or you're being conquered. And if you're not willing to go in to bleed for what you want, then stay average. But don't dare complain. You're not defeated until you accept defeat. You're not done until you decide to be done. Subject, 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 subjective, 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 subjectival. Subjectival. You're not done until you accept. So decide right now, who are you going to be? You've got to build yourself into something unbreakable. No one's going to hand it to you. No one's going to give you respect. You take it. You earn it. This world bows to the relentless, to the ones who don't break, who don't quit, who refuse to lose. If you fall, you get up. If you get hit, you hit back harder. If the door shuts, you kick it off the hinges, because that's what it takes to win. And so, if you got what it takes, if you fall shut, you kick it off the hinges, because that's what it takes to win. So, if you're breathing, if you're still in the game, then say it loud. You done? No, you're not done. You don't stop when you're tired. You stop when you're finished. You stop when the mission's complete. Listen, life's going to push you to your edge. It's going to knock you down so hard you forget who you are. But you got to remember why you started. Remember the dream. This ain't the time to back up. This ain't the time to let go. This is the time to lock in. Because winners don't fold, they don't break. They build. When I was homeless, I didn't have a plan B. It was win or die trying. I said, Eric, you better turn this pain into purpose. And that's what I did. When people quit on you, keep going. When nobody believes in you, keep. When life says it's over, you say, not until I win. You've come too far to turn back now. You've sacrificed too much to let it all go. This is your moment. And don't you let pain take that from you. Don't you let fear hold you hostage. Push past the pain, work through the tears, fight through the silence. It's going to get hard, but that's the process. You're being forged, you're being refined, you're becoming unstoppable. So speak this out loud. It's not over until I win. Until I conquer, until I prove every doubt wrong, wake up, grind, repeat, again, until you win. When you're overwhelmed by suffering, when chaos has entered your life, and you can't see a way out, it's tempting to give up. But I want you to remember something. It is not over until you win. Life is suffering. That is a fundamental truth. But it is also filled with meaning. And if you orient yourself properly, if you aim at the highest good you can conceptualize, you can withstand the burden of existence. Even in your worst moments, you must stand up voluntarily, shoulder the responsibility and say, this will not destroy me. People collapse because they lose hope. But meaning is what sustains us through suffering. You don't need to be free of pain. You need to be committed to something so meaningful that the pain becomes bearable. When you fall, the world doesn't care. But you must get back up. You must rebuild order from the chaos. You must choose to climb even when the hill gets steeper. Do not compare yourself to who someone else is today. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday and ask, did I move forward even a little? When life tells you you can't, your response should be, I must. The archetypal hero doesn't succeed because things are easy. He succeeds because he confronts the dragon, enters the unknown, and transforms. So when you feel like quitting, don't, because your story is still being written. It is not over until you win. You're done. No, you're not done. You don't stop when you're tired. You stop when you're finished. You stop when the mission's complete. Listen, life's going to push you to your edge. It's going to knock you down so hard you forget who you are. But you got to remember why you started. Remember the dream. This ain't the time to back up. This ain't the time to let go. This is the time to lock in. Because winners don't fold, they don't break, they build. When I was homeless, I didn't have a plan B. It was win or die trying. I said, Eric, you better turn this pain into purpose. And that's what I did. When people quit on you, keep going. When nobody believes in you, keep going. When life says it's over, you say, not until I win. You've come too far to turn back now. You've sacrificed too much to let it all go. This is your moment. And don't you let pain take that from you. Don't you let fear hold you hostage. Push past the pain. Work through the tears. Fight through the silence. It's going to get hard. But that's the process. You're being forged. You're being refined. You're becoming unstoppable. So speak this out loud. It's not over until I win, until I conquer, until I prove every doubt wrong. Wake up, grind, repeat again, until you win. Let me ask you something. Do you believe that you were created for a purpose? Do you believe there's a reason you're still here, still breathing, still pushing? Because if you do, then quitting is not an option. You see, purpose doesn't quit on you. Calling doesn't back down. The vision you've been given, that fire inside your soul, it came from God. And it didn't come with an expiration date. You might be delayed, but you're not denied that struggle you're going through. It's not there to break you. It's there to build you, to prepare you for what's coming. I teach people how to turn ideas into income, but I always remind them the first transformation happens on the inside, because wealth isn't about what's in your bank. It's about what's in your belief. You've got to believe you're called to win. Even when the world calls you a failure, you've got to believe the test is not a punishment, it's a preparation. You've got to walk in authority. Speak to the mountain, command it to move. And when it doesn't move right away, you keep pushing, you keep praying, you keep showing up, because it's not over until you win. And win doesn't mean it's easy. Win doesn't mean it comes quick. Win means you endured. Win means you stayed faithful. Win means you looked every obstacle in the face and said, you will not defeat me. So I'm telling you right now, with every ounce of conviction I've got, don't you stop. Don't you fold. Don't you give up on what God put inside of you. When the warrior walks the path, he is not seeking comfort. He is seeking truth. He is seeking mastery over self. You may feel tired. Life may seem impossible, but I want you to understand the pain you feel is not the end, it is the beginning. The beginning of growth, the beginning of discipline, the beginning of transformation. You must continue not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. In the Shaolin tradition, we train our bodies, but we also train our minds. We learn to sit with discomfort. We learn to listen to the silence within. And in that silence, you will hear the voice that says, keep going. Quitting is a habit. So is perseverance. You must ask yourself, which habit are you building today? The path of the monk, of the warrior, of the master. It is long and painful, but every fall, every failure, every bruise, it builds the spirit. When you lose, you learn. When you suffer, you grow. And when you stand again, after falling, you become unshakable. Your goal is not just to win, your goal is to become worthy of the victory. So breathe, be still, and remember this is not your final form. As long as your heart beats, as long as you can take one more step, your story is not finished. You may be facing something right now that looks impossible. Maybe it's your finances, your health, your relationships. And I know it hurts. I know you feel tired. I've been there. But let me tell you something, it's not over. When I was living in my car, broke, hungry, sleeping in hotels or not sleeping at all, I still had the dream. And what kept me going? I knew deep down God didn't bring me this far to leave me. That vision you've got, that gift inside you, that's not a coincidence. That's divine. But if you want it, you got to fight for it. Faith without works is dead. That means you got to show up. You got to keep pushing even when it doesn't make sense, even when nobody's clapping, even when everything in you says it's over, because it ain't over. Not for you, not if you're still breathing. God is still in control. And just because it looks bad now doesn't mean the story ends like this. Sometimes the darkest part of the night comes right before the sunrise. Don't you give up. Don't you throw in that towel. The struggle is preparing you. The pain is shaping you. The delay is developing you. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. So speak life into yourself. Say it with boldness. It's not over. Not until I win. Your breakthrough is coming. Stay in the fight. Every single person hits a breaking point. That moment where nothing's working and you feel like giving up. But I need you to hear me loud and clear. It's not over until you win. See, most people stop because they confuse failure with finality. But failure is never the end. It's feedback. It's life asking you, how bad do you really want this? Are you willing to pay the price, to face the pain, to keep showing up? The winners, the ones who change the world, they decide that no matter what happens, they are going to find a way. You may not control the events of your life, but you absolutely control what they mean. You can take your pain, your rejection, your heartbreak, and turn it into fuel, into focus, into fire. When it hurts, when it's heavy, that's not your cue to quit. That's your invitation to rise. Change happens when you stop negotiating with your limits and raise your standard. When you stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I must. You've got something powerful inside of you, but you don't find it in comfort. You find it when you're stretched, when you're tested, when you've got nothing left but the decision to keep going. Decide right now, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, I will not stop until I win. Because victory belongs to the relentless. It's not over. Not even close. It's not over until you win. You want to quit? Good. That's where it starts. See, everybody wants to win when it's easy, when it's sunny out, when they're motivated. But when you're broken, when life has smashed your face into the dirt, that's when the real ones are made. I've been there. I've had nights where I couldn't walk, where my body screamed to stop, but I didn't stop. You know why? Because I hadn't won yet. Pain is the greatest training partner you'll ever meet. It doesn't lie. It shows you who you really are. And most people, they run from it. They hide. But winners, we embrace it. You think it's over because you failed once 10 times? Try failing 1,000 times and still getting up every morning saying, I'm not done. It's not about talent. It's about the savage mentality, the grind, the obsession. People say, Goggins, how'd you do it? I say, I stayed in the fight. Period. You don't stop because you're tired. You stop when you've conquered it. You stop when you've dominated every excuse, every weakness, every doubt. You say you want to be great, then act like it, bleed for it, hurt for it, keep going no matter what, because this fight ain't over. Not for you, not today. It's not over until you win. There is a principle that governs all success, and it is this. You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Every man and woman who has risen from defeat to greatness has understood that defeat is never failure unless you accept it as such. The trials you face, the setbacks you suffer, they are not signs that you are done. They are signals that you are being prepared. When life knocks you down, do not interpret it as punishment. Interpret it as preparation. For within every adversity lies the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But the seed must be found and it must be nurtured. The most successful individuals, the ones who have accumulated not only wealth but influence, purpose, and peace, each of them faced trials that would have broken a lesser soul. But they refused to accept defeat as final. They made the decision deep and irrevocable that they would not stop until they had won. Let me remind you, success always begins in the same place, with a burning desire. Not a wish, not a hope, but a white-hot, all-consuming desire, a definiteness of purpose so intense that no opposition, no criticism, no failure could shake it. If your desire to win is not stronger than your fear of loss, then you will fall at the first obstacle. But if you possess the kind of desire that cannot be extinguished, then you will discover what I call the hidden power of persistence. You must persist through fatigue, through loneliness, through doubt. There is no other way. Temporary defeat is not permanent failure. It is merely life's way of asking, how badly do you want it? And your answer must be badly enough to keep going. Badly enough to learn the lesson. Badly enough to rise from the ashes of every failed attempt and go forward stronger. The mind is the battleground. And the moment you truly decide that quitting is not an option, you activate forces within you and around you that begin to move. You don't need to see the entire staircase. Just take the next step with faith. It is not over until you win, because life does not close the door on those who keep knocking. Think of Thomas Edison. 10,000 failed experiments. 10,000. Yet he did not say, I have failed. He said, I have found 10,000 ways that do not work. And because he would not quit, because he persisted, the world was given the electric light, the power of decision, the power of desire, the power of never giving up. These are not motivational cliches. These are universal laws of success. If you have fallen, good. Now rise. Stronger, smarter, more determined. If they laughed at your dream, good. Let it fuel you. Let it drive you. If they told you it's impossible, good. Let that be your invitation to prove them wrong. Do not speak of limitations. Speak only of possibilities. Say to yourself, I will not surrender. I will not shrink. I will not turn back, because this dream was placed in my heart for a reason. A man who knows what he wants and is willing to pay the price is unstoppable. He does not wait for opportunity, he creates it. He does not beg for a chance, he becomes the reason for change. Do not look to others to confirm your belief. You must believe first. When belief becomes action and action becomes discipline, the world yields. When others sleep, you work. When others complain, you create. When others quit, you rise. They turn back right before the breakthrough because they do not know. They do not understand that pain is part of the process, that uncertainty is part of growth, that the darkest hour truly is just before dawn. If you could only see the success waiting just on the other side of your next step, you would never stop. So I'm here to tell you, keep going. There is power in you that you have not yet tapped. There is greatness in you that you have not yet expressed, but you must endure. You must believe, you must act, and you must refuse to accept anything less than victory.